welcome to another episode of our podcast from Digital by Tribe. My name is Joseph, as you know. And again, I'm delighted to have my colleague, Mamadou, here to discuss some interesting and fascinating topics today.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day here in Dubai. Lovely weather. We're excited about what the outdoors will bring for us. So, let's see what that turns out to be. But coming back to the topic of today, I wanted to touch on something that we believe is very expansive. It's this whole excitement around what the digital version of our world would be, right? We've seen it in movies. We've seen it as far as Star Trek.
Very interesting.
One.
Yeah.
It started off as a bit of a nerdy / geekish thing. But now it's becoming more and more realistic, and I guess probably last year was the biggest validation of how realistic this digital world is becoming when Meta, or formerly Facebook, decided to put all their eggs in one basket, which is the metaverse scenario.
Yeah.
And that has kind of led into this whole interest in what really the digital world can bring to us. So in summary, today we will be talking about extended reality, and this will be the beginning of a series of discussions and I guess intriguing, curiosity-led views on what the whole concept of immersive reality is. I know it's probably broken down into things like mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality, but at the end of the day, it's just a concept that takes you to a different angle, and I think the actual word to use will be extended reality, because it takes things beyond what the physical is. So let's call it extended reality.
Extended reality. It's a good name.
Yeah, not mine. I didn't make that up. All right, so I think today I don't really have ownership in terms of my point of view. It's a lot of things that today my perspective is really open-ended questions as to say what could possibly be. I don't really have a position on it. So I guess it would just be an interesting back and forth between you and I.
Yeah.
But I'll start off with a quick question. What's your take on extended reality?
Yeah, it's as you said, it's a very open question. A couple of days ago, I read in the news that with the recent shift from Facebook to the new name, Meta, they lost a big number of their shares in the stock market. And what's surprising about it is that the CEO is still investing a big amount of money into a part of the extended reality, which raises the question, is there anything that we don't know? I mean, there must be something that we don't know, right? There is something we don't know, and these people know, and they're investing over $10 billion in it.
Yes.
So there is something that's about to happen. It's a major shift. And it reminds me of back when, remember when the internet came out and people started using it? Mm-hmm. I heard stories from my cousin who was there from the beginning of the internet and that wave and the hype. And he was telling me stories of how people back then used to say, no, what is this? The internet is not going to last for a couple of years. Don't invest on it. And the few people who, I can say, who made it in the industry are those who did the research, believed in the capability of something beneficial happening out of a fresh new idea.
Yeah.
And being willing to bet on it.
Yeah.
I believe this is a very similar scenario to what's going to happen in the future. Right now, everything is vague. Everything is experimental. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of good and not so good parts of the mixed reality.
Yeah.
And it's just, it depends on who wants to invest what at what time.
Yeah.
So I would be willing to take the risk to invest on something like this. What is there to lose?
Yeah, so I mean that's an interesting point you raised there regarding, how despite the plummeting in the stock or the financial performance, they're still willing to invest. And true, Meta is a 3 billion user company or thereabouts. So you can imagine the amount of data and information they can harness to be able to have such projections and place such a big bet on this technology. From my position, I would think that this is a convergence of two macro factors. One, the information age that we're in, which is, like you've said, was heralded by the introduction of the internet. And the other factor is, since the beginning of time, we have been storytellers. From the hand on the cave to the plaques, the Sumerian text, we've found ways to tell stories of ourselves, legends and all of that. And that is even more prevalent now. If you look at social media, taking those two factors, the fact that the information is now everywhere and information is now
valuable.
It's now valuable.
It's the biggest industry, I think, now.
It is the age. We're in the information age,
or the disinformation age.
Depending on how you look at it, right? Because there's fake news and all of that. So right now, it's those two factors coming together. If you now think about the format of it, I think extended reality is just a more enabling format for that, where you can expand the real estate within which information is transferred in a virtual space while still existing and coordinating with your physical space. So it sounds a bit abstract, but I think it's that ability to scale the canvas for information display at a crazy rate. I think that's what pretty much has created this luster, this attraction to brands, to companies, because the more information you can transfer or interact with, the more you can do. So
and the more you do, the more information they collect about you.
Exactly. Now in mixed reality is so the difference between virtual, augmented and mixed. Mixed reality is essentially pretty much an extension of augmented reality, in the sense that it brings in digital objects into the physical space. The only thing about mixed reality that makes it stand out is that you can interact with physical object with the digital object that has been brought into your physical space. Whereas augmented reality just puts it in your physical space. So like Google Map has augmented reality with arrows showing when you're supposed to turn right in certain cities anyways, and image recognition from like the Google image recognition search. But the way it becomes interesting is when a character that you can import from a digital space into a physical space can actually interact with you. So imagine having a personal trainer that can actually interact with you, or you can interact with whilst you're in your living space. So automatically that exponentially blows up the amount of immersive experience, one-on-one experiences that personal trainer can have by creating just that one element of one instance of that code. So I think that basically the question from us in our field we want to start pondering on would be, how does this affect brands and branding? What is marketing and branding going to look like in the near future when mixed reality comes into play, when Meta pulls the big triggers and they make it mainstream? Just makes me think like what the world will be at that point in time.
It's like a new era. I think it will open the door for consumers to be a contributor to the overall shape or representation of the brand itself. Because right now, no matter how small or big of a company you are or a brand you are, the brand will always have to listen to what the customers want. No successful brand would want to do something just because they want to do it or because the CEO says like, let's do it. They would do it because they know that they're doing it to provide a specific desire or request for a specific target audience that they can exchange value in exchange for money, let's say,
yeah.
right? Or status. So I believe with this new era, we as the consumers or the creators will be able to open new doors for either a consumer or a fan or a follower to contribute to how the overall look of the brand will be like.
Yeah. In my head, I just picture hyper personalization becoming a reality. So looking at a situation, imagine you go from your house to work and every single billboard or every single ad poster you see is an ad that speaks directly to you, and everybody else sees only ads that speak directly to them. So 1 million people walk through the same road or same bus station or metro station, and you get 1 million variations of the same ad space shown to them, because each person would have whatever the mixed reality gadget will be, perhaps
database,
a lens or a pair of glasses. You remember the Google Glass? And there's news about Apple
not
also
so successful one.
I hear Apple is trying to take a second dig at that, and let's see how that turns out to be. I mean, so I see that concept of hyper personalization being one of the benefits to the marketing industry.
But it's already happening right now.
Yes.
Like on sports channels.
Yeah.
I've just learned about this, that you know how in football sports games you see these banners on the sides of the pitch, right?
Yeah.
So right now, if you're in Spain, for example, as a Spanish audience, you would see personalized ads written in Spanish language.
Yes.
Meanwhile, in a different country, it would be completely different. And it's just like a green screen and they would change it. Can you imagine how much revenue these channels are it's amazing.
And imagine that being you sat in that stadium, and just because you have the right hardware on, when that runs on the banner, you see stuff that only matters to you. You see stuff, say, as a parent, that matters to the fact that you have a 3-year-old and you see baby toys that your son could like. And then the person sitting next to you sees an advert of a nice sports car, because that's what the data sets they have about him in terms of his interests are. And then everybody just kind of live in their own personalized world while interacting with the real shared world. I think that is a humongous expansion of capacity from a marketing perspective. But aside from the commercial gains, I think that there will also become the issue of ethics, you know, and how it shapes people's reality. Because what's fed to you over and over and over and over
conditions you.
Yeah. I believe that there would have to be some sort of
guidelines,
strict regulations, to say, okay, you can only show customized ads to this level, maybe, or within these topics.
I agree with you, but when it comes to specifically like moral compasses and ethical codes, when it comes to this specific platform, let's say, it's very abstract, and it's very easy for companies or entities to find loopholes in any law they can create. Just like the recent news that Apple was kind of forced to install the USB Type-C into all their devices by 2024. So I watched the interview yesterday, and members of the Apple company mentioned that we are forced to oblige with the law, with the new rules. But they did not really say that we're going to install USB Type-C. They just said we're forced to do it, so they're going to probably look for another solution and do it the Apple way, as you know. And this is where I see it's a very blurry line between.
Yeah, it is.
Are they really following the law, or are they finding ways around it?
Yeah.
So ethical codes it really differs from one district, from one family to one family. Yeah. Let alone if we take it on a larger scale on, can you present these things to kids under 13? Can you screen this in public places? Can you really talk about this aspect of political campaigns in this region at this period of time. So it becomes, there's more variables that gets added to this, which can play both ways. It can work for our benefit as a consumer, but it can also work against the consumers if the agenda was drawn in a meticulous way to play around the law to deliver whatever they want.
I think also if you look at it, speaking of the word agenda, it could also become a thing where there's discrimination, where a certain set of people, as an example, could be shared an ad, serves ads and communications about a product with certain features, or maybe let's even say certain price brackets that the others wouldn't know, because it's not a billboard where you see the MSRP, right? If you want to charge certain people because you think maybe they're more affluential, for instance, you put a extra premium on the price that you offer them, or so I think that there's going to be a myriad of checks and balances that will be required, because we don't even know what these blurred lines would entail. I think in order to spearhead that movement, they will need to focus more on consumer education. They need, because unlike the current regime right now of digital advertising, where consumers don't really know how the data being sold affects them. There's a lot of deep web stuff that if you dig down enough, you'll be shocked to see how your data is being used, and how much the lack of regulation is affecting the ineffective use of your data. So when it comes to the extended reality version of advertising, I believe that we would need to start educating people to understand the danger, like the more intense danger that would occur from their data being used the wrong way and then being targeted by the wrong kind of messaging. I mean, there's some Black Mirror stuff.
It's a very good example. Very good example.
I think at the end of the day, we will see how this. It'll be interesting to see what political campaigns will be.
I'm running for president, man. I'll make some really good content, and I'm running for president.
Yeah, but aside from that, I think that what we will want to get out of it is how we can start preparing ourselves for that world from now. What kind of things we need to have in place. Say, look at us as a digital agency. What kind of skills do we require to be able to play in that field? Is it a different type of storytelling skills? Is it a different type of video content creation skill? That would be interesting.
Even like the monetization of everything will be different. It's a different age. I believe. You've mentioned a very important point. You said we need to make people aware of the dangers that could happen, that could come with the adaptation of this new technology. But I believe, it's a must that people become more aware of where they're getting themselves involved in. But at the same time, when more people know more about something, that's when you get more opinions about it.
Absolutely.
And that's when it becomes more, it becomes a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And the more opinions you have about the creation level of a new platform, for example, the less effective it will be. And the more refusal you will get from different people. I don't know, I'm just throwing, I'm trying to throw scenarios in my head, and I'm trying to see how will this
happen, guys. We're just trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to throw scenarios and see like how will it turn out to be. Like, to me personally, I would be very interested in just throwing myself into the whole mixed reality and see what I can do and see what happens to me, see what I can provide, see what I can learn from it, see what I can share, what I know from what I've learned from it, and see how I can benefit people from whatever they can consume there. But what you said, like the caution, wet floor. This is a caution, it's a wet platform. Just don't slip and slide.
Yeah, slippery anytime.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could go on and talk about this for. This is definitely going to be a series where we kind of deep dive into this, and this is something that we should. I mean, we've already started looking into this, but we should take it more seriously because. Like you started in your opening comments, if the big boys are investing despite losing in the immediate term, there's definitely something about it that has a longer term value that supersedes whatever the loss of the short term is. So, let's see. Maybe by the next time we talk about this, you would have become a mixed reality artist.
We hope so. We hope you guys as well be there. But how about you guys ask us, tell us what we can talk about?
Yeah, exactly. Let us know your take on this huge topic of mixed reality or extended reality. What do you see happening? How do you see other technologies mixing into it? The NFTs from crypto space, or the AI-driven art that we talked about a couple of sessions ago. Like, how will this work? Like, are there going to be new career paths that people will create where they only exist in the extended reality world? Let us know, guys. Let your creativity run free, and share your comments or suggestions about this. But I think we can put a peg on those thoughts now. For that.
Yeah. Until next time.
Thanks for your candid opinions about this.
The big boys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. Always a pleasure. Thank you guys for listening to us, listening to our banter today. We will deep dive into this topic a lot more in the future. And then until then, do have a great week ahead, and let's go see what the outdoors are saying.
Peace.